て全てるざわめきまべやかぎしてとファナレや鳴り響かせよ歌ラブライブシャーリスキセハイ全て取り戻すためこちらに飛び込めば両手の愛に
Hello, everyone. Welcome to
hello.
my first YouTube stream. I don't know what I'm doing.
Congrats, Chimo, on your very first YouTube live stream. I'm so proud of you. I knew you'd come join me in the dark side.
I had to. I couldn't help myself. Seemed like so much fun.
Okay, YouTube is actually a lot of fun. So there's many cool things we can do on here. For example, yeah.
Very compelling. Very compelling.
Yeah, I knew it. Don't mind me.
I am
I'm
not cute, but I am small.
I'm running on 3 hours of sleep. So
Oh no! I thought you.
yeah.
That
I
was
know.
just a nap, right?
I don't know how I do this to myself, but yeah.
No.
Chimo, since this is your first YouTube stream,
Mm-hmm.
why don't you tell chat and anyone else who's gonna watch this video later what we're doing today? Because some people can't read the
Yes.
title.
That's fair. I'm going to respectfully react to this video by Joey, the anime man. Called This is where all of Japan's hentai is made. And it's not. It's actually where none of it is made. But
Yeah.
we're gonna go for it.
And the reason why we wanted to react to this is because Shimo like sent me this video the other day and she's like, "Oh my gosh." She's like, "Oh my gosh, Mari, this video that we have to watch this video." And I said, "Okay, we can watch this video." And I'm just warning you all right now. When Shimo really like gets into something, she really gets into something. So I hope you're all excited to hear like Shimo's thoughts about this because it's really fascinating how much knowledge is in this cute little head of hers.
Very cute anime ten, but yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I actually know quite a lot about this stuff. A lot of stuff about this stuff. I'm actually planning to start doing YouTube videos about otaku anime dojin culture and the history of a lot of it. As I have time, Mari is encouraging me to start on that.
Yes, because it's such a good idea. Like, and like again, you know so much about like especially otaku culture and like you know really just fascinating stuff. Like, I don't know. I love when we go into voice chat and you just start like going off on all the really cute little fun trivia, and I'm just like, wow. I think it's perfect for YouTube, so I'm happy to
Yeah, I
start
think
this
it'd
with
be
you.
fine because I don't know if anyone that really does videos on all of it, you know? So, yeah, I know a lot, but I think for doing the videos, I'm gonna spend time like researching all the stuff that I'm gonna talk about so I can actually like be able to provide more information, more detailed than whatever I can remember off the top of my head, like I'm gonna do tonight.
Yeah. And don't worry, your big sister will help you with that stuff too.
Yeah, I got the best big sister. But yeah, I think it'll be fun. I've already made a bunch of notes for like 24 videos worth of content.
Oh my gosh. Yes, that's right. You showed me a little
Yeah,
bit of
I
it.
showed you that list. Like,
Mm-hmm.
genuinely, like, a couple of those things could be, like, 2-hour-long videos.
I mean, hey, you know, like, that's always very fun because some people
Yeah,
just like to watch stuff, you know?
exactly. Like, I definitely want to go into more detail about it because, like, um, there's, like, bits and pieces that are, like, on YouTube, and it's just, like, they're so condensed because, and there's so much that gets skipped over because there's just so much that, like, there's just so much.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that like you like to get really detailed is pretty exciting. So yeah, I'm excited for
I think it's
you.
important to get pretty detailed about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like one really fun fact is that you know, Comic Cat was actually started by male shoujo manga fans. I think that's something that not a lot of people know about.
Oh, that's actually a fair point. No, you're right. I think there's like there's like a lot of like niche terms too that a lot of people don't know and then they like misuse them too.
Yeah,
And
like dojin. So like one of the first videos I'm
yeah.
probably gonna do is on like what does dojin mean? Like what is it? Um I think it I think that's the biggest issue is in Western terminology a lot of people use dojin as a thing. So it's not actually a thing. It's a descriptor for things.
Mm.
Uh
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's good to actually go over this before we start looking at this video at least briefly. So what a dojin is, in a super condensed form, is essentially a dojin is a thing that is self-published, not for profit. And the not for profit part is what sets it apart from necessarily being indie. And it's a distinction I like to make because there are indie publishers and artists in Japan, and that is separate from dojin. And if you talk to a lot of Japanese dojin artists, a lot of them even consider the idea of if you only release it online, it doesn't count as a dojin because it's not at Comic Head, it's not at a comic market, it's not at a dojin event.
Okay, now that I did not know. That's
Yeah,
really fascinating.
yeah, some of my friends have actually like discussed it. They're like, are we even dojin artists? Because like most of what we do, most of our activities are online. We don't actually release at event. And some of them are like, yeah, we're not dojin artists because we do not release at dojin events. We don't put out dojin CDs. We don't put out dojin manga.
That's so fascinating how like I mean, we can all appreciate their works, right? But it's interesting how there has to be a description, a
Yeah.
distinction. Otherwise,
Um,
it's like you know how, it's like how can you like differentiate that from like a web comic or like a webtoon, whatever it's called? That's why there
yeah,
has to be that
exactly.
definition.
Well, it's different because dojin culture really encompasses the events they're released at. And they're released under what are called circles. I think it's compared to like a quarterly, like a fan group, basically.
Mm.
It can be one person, it can be multiple people. Most of them are single person, but they're still referred to as a. It's basically what they publish under is the circle, and then there's the artists in the circle. And it's usually like a group of friends. But yes, there actually is a difference between dojin and dojinshi. To answer the question, so dojin means same person. That is what the literal meaning for dojin is. Same person. And dojinshi is the shi in it is actually for written material. So it's not actually limited to manga. It can include like dojinshi light novels. I thank you for the sound alert. I am gonna turn those off for this. But yeah, so threw me off. But yeah, so dojinshi can be manga, it can be light novels, it can be art books. It is not limited to NSFW. It can
Oh,
be
yeah. That's
yeah.
the big thing, right? Don't
And
a
it's
lot
not
of
all
people
parody
think it
works
is?
either. It's actually really common for professional artists to also be dojin artists. I think a good example of this is Kamiya Yu, the creator of No Game No Life. He
Mm.
also releases dojinshi on the side, and some of it are even of like he releases dojinshi for No Game No Life art books and character materials with like all the sketches and all his ideas. Like creating the series, he released them as dojins at Comic Cat at one point. Yep, Nagatora authored it. There's so many.
So, some
One of
people might not
my
know what a parody
parody is basically just when they're based off an existing series. So like Kami, you will sometimes do like Idolmaster Dojinshi or Toho Dojinshi, and that's a parody. Yep,
Okay.
Dragon Maids does. A friend of mine is actually and so there's like a whole dojin music scene. And a friend of mine is he's been releasing dojin music for like 20 years. But for his actual job, he's actually the sound engineer for a major game studio. And he does like he's done like audio engineering for like the Idolmaster series.
It's so good.
Yeah. So like
So good.
there's also at like Comic Hut, there's actually there's commercial booths, and they'll like send out like scouts to find new works to like adapt. But yeah, dojin stuff is wild. It's very complex. There's a lot that goes on. And that's why I really do want to like try to put together a video that kind of like covers a broader range of like what it is, because it gets muddied a lot. But yeah, like dojin stuff even includes like the tote bags and the blankets and all the different things that are released at the event. Like those are all classified as dojin goods.
So how would you like differentiate that between something that we would see at like Artist Alley at an anime convention over here?
There isn't.
So it's kind of like the same
It's
thing.
no,
you're
it's the
saying?
exact same thing. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it really is just like fans coming together to release stuff, or artists coming together to release stuff, because again, not all of it is like because a lot of people refer to like dojins, they'll translate as like fanzines or fan work, but not all, like there's a lot of original stuff. I cannot think of any names off the top of my head, but there's actually quite a few like anime and manga that were serialized that were originally based off of dojinshi.
Oh, I think
But as far
it's on the
as
tip of my tongue. I know what you're talking
well,
about.
no, I know what you're thinking of. So there are. Oh yeah, XL Saga. XL Saga was a dojin that was adapted. Yep, that was one of them. But for other things, Tsukihime, for example, it was actually released when Type Moon was still a dojin circle before they were a company. For example, and then probably one of the more famous examples is Higurashi, is a series of dojin games, visual novels.
You knew exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah. Yeah, 7th Expansion is a dojin circle. They're the creators of Higurashi. Yeah.
Such a good series, Hima. We should play that sometime together.
Let's go. Yeah.
Shoot, there was one more question I wanted to ask you before we got, but maybe I'll remember it later on through this.
Oh.
But since we want to
What's
make like this
it?
video, it was something about oh, I think I remember now. It was more like how I was asking earlier about Artist Alley and how it's like, pretty much the same thing. I feel like maybe the reason why a lot of people just misunderstand what dojinshi is and dojins are is just maybe it's because they just can't visualize that it's like the exact same thing artists have. Like, why do we want to go support all of our artists whose work we love so much? It's like that whole tight niche community because the artist
Yeah.
community is really close.
It's kind of the same in spirit, except it's more expansive than Artist Alley. I mean, it would be like if you replaced like Anime Expo and made it just Artist Alley.
That's actually a really good way to put it, I think.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that's
And
also
you
enough
didn't limit
context
it
for
to
people.
artwork, but it's like manga, games, blankets, CDs, stickers, like everything, right? Visual novels, like anything you can
Handkerchiefs.
think of, like, because like there's like garage kits and stuff too, like fan made like figures and whatnot. Like you can pretty much find whatever if you're looking for it. Yeah, increase the size. So like Anime Expo is like already huge. It has like 115,000 people attending it all the time, and Comic Head's like 6 to 7 times that. Yeah.
Hey, well, I think that gives great context for like, because I'm sure there might be some people watching this who probably have no idea what any of that was. So
Yeah.
thank you, Shimo, for being so smart and giving background context before we roast this Annie tuber.
Yeah, exactly. And one more thing I will
Respectfully.
mention. Yeah, exactly. So he is at Toranoana's logistics center. And Toranoana is one of the major dojin consignment shops. And what that is they will buy or take in your leftover dojins from event, and they will sell them on your behalf for a small fee. And they are specifically set up for selling dojins and dojin goods and works. Generally speaking, they don't actually manufacture anything. On rare occasions, Toranoana will do compilation albums or manga, but generally speaking, they don't actually make anything. They are a way for excess stock to be sold and stored. Because, yeah, if it doesn't sell at the event, someone doesn't want it laying around in their home with limited space. They just hand it off to them, and they handle selling it, and give them their monies when it sells. But yeah, Toranoana is one of the bigger ones. I believe, if I remember correctly, the anime 𝐻뾱𝒩𝒯𝒜𝐼 is actually loosely based off of Toranoana.
Really?
Yeah. But these days, I believe Melon Books is actually a lot larger. Which is another big consignment shop. Yeah. There's quite a few of them. But Melon Books and Toranoana are like the two biggest ones.
What? Shimo.
Yeah.
What are Melon Books again? I forgot.
Melon Books is it's a good site. It's a good shop. It's a good store.
It sounds delicious. Okay, I'm ready for this. It does.
But yeah, alright, guys, ready?
Yeah.
Alrighty.
How's it going? I'm here at a factory, and you might be wondering, what kind of factory, Joey? Well, I'll tell you. This is actually the factory that the good folks over at Toranoana own. Now, that might sound like a familiar name to you guys if you watched my main channel video from a couple of months back where I bought $1,000 worth of hentai, and they decided, hey, you know what? Why don't you come to our factory to see where all of the good stuff is made? And that's essentially where we are. Right now, we are in the factory where pretty much all of the hentai that is made in Japan is...
Except it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
So, Shimo, didn't you just say, no, wait, you didn't just say that. Didn't he just say this is where all the hentai is made?
Yeah, and
Okay.
it's not actually... I actually already prefaced that. They don't actually really make anything there. There's actually printers, like printing companies that are basically the center of like printing for doujinshi, essentially. They're like printing companies that are specifically set up to handle printing for dojin events. Actually, where is it? Yeah, here. I will show this real fast. So this is Matsukoro. They are one of the printers for dojinshi. They're one of the bigger ones. This is Sun Group. They're probably the biggest one. And so this is where dojin circles will go to get their dojins printed, as you can see in the lovely video. And yeah, they'll even have you can see links to Fromage, Melon Books, and Toranoana, the three main sites for that. And when you like go around, they will have like a list of all the events. They will have deadline information of when you need to get stuff done, like get stuff in. They generally will not check like the quality, or like they won't check to make sure like your stuff is set up right. They pretty much leave that to you. But yeah. These are the two main like printers, and that's kind of what the whole printing process looks like for them as well. It's actually interesting to note, as just a little side tangent, they do not handle commercial manga, generally speaking. There's actually other companies that specialize in printing that handle the bulk of commercial printing.
I wonder why they separate it.
Scale.
Oh, that's true.
The
That's
scale is
true.
just, I mean, what you're working with, because the price, the scale, everything. So Sankyo Graphics is one of the ones that does a lot of printing for commercial releases. They're one of the they're one, and then Akatsuki is another one. And if you scroll through their thing, you'll see like, you know, examples of magazines and manga and stuff that they are the printing company for.
I wonder how they can like afford that if it's not for profit. Someone said in chats.
They lose money.
Mm.
I don't have any recent statistics, but there's been some studies, like there's been some research that have been done in polls, and like for one comic hit, 80% of circles said they lost money. They did not make a profit. They did not break even on their cost of making what they release. It really is a thing you do because you want to. And it's fun, honestly. It's really fun. I have sold at Comic Hut before, and it was really fun. Like it's a really cool experience, you know, like even if like you can't be there in person, but like you have someone like selling stuff like for you. Like I actually have a song of mine being released at a dojin event here soon. And it's just cool. It's so cool. Like it's really neat.
Wait,
No, it
so
wouldn't necessarily be 100% losing money. It's not it's a hobby thing, right? So you're not doing it as a way to make profit, but some people do make a profit. It's actually really, I word it that way because that's part of the reason why it's legal. It's not done as a, oh, we're going into this with the hopes of making money, because then you get into copyright issues with the stuff that is not original.
it's almost like it depends on the intention behind it.
It's the intention, but also the scale. Like, outside of like the super, super big circles, right? A lot of the stuff is like, some of the dojins are only having maybe 100, 200 copies made. Like,
Only 200 copies?
yeah. Like, this is all very small scale. That's why I say it's not for profit, because like once they sell out, they don't make more. It's not oh, we're gonna just keep making more and hope to sell them all. It's no, like they do one-off things. I mean, some of them are, yeah, basically.
That's so interesting.
That is,
like, it's just a different culture. You know?
yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing though, right? Like you go to these events as a creator, and like you go in to set up and you get to meet your booth mates, and like it's like A friend of mine's like talked about it a bit before with me, and they're like, yeah, like, they're also like they're not a Japanese like person, but they live there. They've lived there for a long time, and they're part of a Toho circle. Um, and so like they sell at events because they do Toho Dojinshi, and they're like teaching English. They're like Toho Dojins for teaching English to Japanese people. That's like their thing, right? And they're like,
Okay,
yeah,
that's kinda
I like go and
cool.
set
Alright.
up like, before the event opens, and I get to meet the other artists, and we'll like exchange our dojins with each other and our works,
That's
It's just
so
it's very much
cool.
like a community like driven thing, So it's just like it's different, but also kind of like it makes a lot of sense. Like there's very much a sense of like community. And so
Yeah.
like when you're going in person and like seeing the same people all the time coming back to buy your stuff every event, and like meeting all your fans, like it's very different from like just buying it from a shop.
You just kind of feel more connected to
Yeah,
everyone,
that's the
you know?
idea.
And it
That's
really
really it.
feels genuine when you like support that artist too. It just, I don't know, it feels, it's
Yeah,
very
exactly.
intimate.
But yeah, it's really neat, and I don't know if like it needs noted, but
How
um
much money are those doujinshis that teach Japanese? Is that the one you were talking about with Toho?
oh no, they teach English to
English.
Japanese people, yeah.
Okay, I
Oh.
kind of want to read one of those just to see like I'm curious now.
I would have to find one. Or I'd have to ask him like if
You know
there's
what that
anywhere to
means,
get
chat,
them.
right? Next collab stream with me and Chimo, we just read a bunch.
But yeah, so like for example, this is from an H manga. But this is the same printer as this. So
Mm.
just as an added little like bit.
It's a good tangent.
Yeah, and then you got like Sankyo graphics here,
cute.
which is this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's kind of neat. It's kind of neat. I think it's neat. Especially for like a lot of the dojin stuff, because like it's just really wild because they have like all the like events marked, and they're just like, yeah, you've got until this date to get it all done.
It's like a collective passion project, and I don't know, it's just really
Yeah.
cool.
I should probably not scroll this because I don't know.
Okay,
I don't trust
let's
the
go back to the video.
Yeah,
let's
I
go
don't
back.
trust all the banners. Like they're all relatively safe, but like
We'll just look at this
yeah.
Annie
But
Tsuga
I
instead.
think one of the interesting things to know, and I'll actually show this real fast. Because if
Mm.
you scroll on this, like a lot of them, they all happen really close to each other. Right? Like
Yeah.
like right here, all of these on 10/9. If I'm reading this, I think that's when the events are. So we've got Shota Fest. You got Niji Sosaku, which is a Niji Sanji only. You got a Yuri Girls Love one. Futakat, which is like for futa stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, those are all the same weekend.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Oh
there's
my
just like
gosh.
non-stop events, like all the time. Because you can see 10/7, 10/8, 10/8, 10/8,
Yeah.
10/9, 10/9, 10/9, 10/14. Yeah. They're just like there's like you only ever hear about the really big ones. There's even an event for Sun Group.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez,
I didn't know
they
that
like
before.
they just go ham, don't they?
Yeah. The whole live Dojin event is on the 21st. Followed by a Blue Archive one the day after.
And I'm gonna miss it.
I am too. It's like the weekend before I get there.
What the heck?
Yeah. I'm like, I want to go.
Well,
But yeah,
there's
they
only one
have like,
solution, Chimo. We just have to live there.
yeah, let's go.
Mhm.
But yeah, there is Dojin events for like anything and everything, varying sizes, and like, yeah. There's a lot more than you would think.
Mm.
when you only like you hear a lot about like Comic Hut, but there's actually like mini dojin events going on like every month, almost like weekly. It feels like.
Jeez. I feel like every time we have this conversation, I learn something new every single time.
There is so much to it. There is so much. I wish I could go to the Girls Love Festival. That sounds like
Wait,
heaven.
at least you know why you're
No.
passionate now about this video.
Yeah. Is it the Girls Love Heaven? Is that what you're trying to say?
I mean,
I want to go to it. I'm sad I'm missing it. I'll go one day.
one day, yeah.
Yeah. I know last month there was like a Genshin only one. It's actually really interesting because like some of these events, they only have like 20, 30 circles participating. Like they're very small events, you know? Like they might have a couple hundred people attending at most.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a very, like, close connected.
Yeah, but it's like, you
circle.
know, it's like the big like it's like a fan meetup for
Yeah.
these specific things like Blue Archive or Hololive Niji, etc. Like,
Hmm.
you know, some will show up cosplaying, some will bring all their goods to sell. Like, I don't know, I think it's really neat. I think it's really neat.
I think so too.
Because, like, there's a lot of fan meetups like that that happen at anime conventions here, but it's like, imagine, like, you know, having basically mini anime conventions for specific series, just like all the time, if I were to meet up at.
I feel like we are too opinionated and aggressive to want to do something like that because I feel like
US is too big for it.
yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's
Right.
the biggest issue. But yeah, anyways. We're only 30 seconds into this video. Maybe we should
Well, to be
continue.
fair, you gave some good context, so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I did want to give some like good context going into this. And like I did want to like kind of like show what I'm talking about with some of it. So it's not just like, oh yeah, Shimo's just pulling this out of her brain.
No, Shima's very smart.
I try my best.
Mhm.
Is created, and I've gotten full access to showing you guys the factory as well as how everything is packaged, as well as maybe having a little bit of an experience
And like one
to
side
see
thing
what
with
it's like
Sun
working
Group and
here,
such
as well
is
as a
they
bunch
actually
of other cool stuff as well. I guess we will go around, give it a go, see what it looks
the
like,
dojin
and
artists
take you
actually
guys
add
around a
credits for
factory
them
where
to all
I don't
the
think
all
it's
the
ever been
books.
filmed. I don't know if
Oh.
has it
Yeah,
said
so
there's
it'll
ever
be
been
right
filmed
below
before?
the
Probably
artist
not. I don't
names
know.
and stuff in the
Let's go check it out.
credits.
So first and foremost, obviously
That's
what they have to
actually
do
really
is they
nice.
have to take the dojin,
Yep.
wrap it up in some plastic, because the last thing you want is a bunch of scratches all over your fat material. This line right here, this machine right here, makes sure that all of the things get packaged up nicely. So they have rolls and rolls of this plastic that get wrapped up by this machine and then thrown into
Okay, I
what I
will say
assume is
this is
kind of
very
like a
satisfying to
compressor.
watch.
So
Yeah,
they
I
take
think it's really
high
cool.
temperatures and they basically suck all the air out of it so that it's nice and airtight. And then after it gets compressed, this machine right here takes all of the airtight packaging of the dojins and slaps a barcode on it that has obviously the price of the dojin on it. Once that is done, the staff at the end of the line takes all of those, puts it in some boxes, and then takes it upstairs to the second floor where it is stored and distributed for later packaging and shipping. This isn't anything new. I mean, obviously, if you know anything about
that's
how
how
these kinds of
hentai is
industries
made.
work, then you know obviously this is what they have to do. But I
Guess
always love
so.
actually seeing it in person and seeing how the actual machinery operates. So it's super fascinating. You don't get to see this very often.
Like I will say, I do think it's really cool to see like how the warehouse, how the shipping warehouse handles things like for logistics and such like this. And I think it would have been really cool if like he's just like, yeah, I am just touring, you know,
This factory. Is this a So
Nah.
why does he keep calling it a factory?
because factories are where things are made, but it's their it's the Toranoana Logistics Center. It's
Mm.
basically where they handle all like, from my understanding, because he doesn't really go into it. Well, that would have to be saying that it's not made there, I guess. But he doesn't really say if this is where they handle it for the stores or if it's just like for mail order stuff. So a thing to note about consignment shop like this is for more popular circles. A lot of popular circles will have pre-order options. I've not used Toranoana in quite a while, but I believe Toranoana is generally the same as Melon Books in that regards, where they will have pre-order periods before Comic-Con and such, where you can pre-order copies, and basically they get the shipments. They get a shipment of the books like a day before Comic-Con or so. And so basically because they know it's going to be really popular at event, they basically get copies made just to sell at consignment because so many people want it. Or enough people want it, I guess you could say. Yeah, skip the line, essentially. I would say it's more common to see that in the last 3 years or so. Just because in 2020, Comic-Con got canceled. Which led to a lot of people having, like, nothing to do with their dojins. And so they all just went to shops. And up until this year, Comic-Con has actually had a cap on visitors. And it's been a very low cap. So it's just not as many people coming to buy their stuff. As it goes back to normal, it could not be a thing anymore. But that is sometimes a thing. So, with what's going on here, I'm assuming these are new things they've received from artists that they're packaging for sale in one of the store locations. So they have their flagship store in Akiba, and then they have like multiple other branches in different areas of Japan. But I assume this is also where they handle shipping it to customers. So I'm assuming this is just new stuff they've gotten for selling at stores, and that's where this is all going.
By the way, this is one
Yeah.
floor out of 4 floors. So we're on the 2nd floor right now. As you can see, there is literal thousands of shelves. I mean, this
Those
is
look
like
like
you can
light
only see maybe
novels.
one shelf at the moment, but this goes on for God knows how many shelves. How many do you think right now, like books there are on this one floor?
450,000 or something?
450,000?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So each section is split off into obviously different types of stuff. So right now we're at the, just the standard books and stuff.
Fun fact, just from the packaging on the books behind him, I can tell they're not dojinshi. Fun fact. So one thing to note, Maria's actually AFK right now. So I'll wait on her to get back. Yeah, so, a fun thing is that light novels, manga, and dojinshi are all printed at different sizes. Without going into too much, it'll probably be something I cover in a video at some point. But there's different paper sizes. You've got A and B, and like 1 through 7 or 8 or something like that. And it basically is just how they cut or how they size it, right? And so, there's like 3 main sizes for dojinshi. It is A4, A5, and B5. Yeah, light novels are usually printed. Light novels are also printed much smaller than a normal manga. Form factor wise, they're a lot smaller. Actually, 1 second.
I have a couple of light novels that I got when I was in Japan. They're pretty cool.
1 second.
Chimo has lots of cool stuff in her room, by the way. And if she's grabbing something to show you all, you should be very lucky. She's cooking. She's cooking.
Here, I can actually,
Yes.
I can show you guys.
I knew it. I was like, yeah, she's cooking.
Yeah. It's just, it's so easy to do, you know?
Hmm.
Because
I'm excited. You always have really cool stuff.
I have a pretty extensive collection of books, and yeah, so
I
just
love
for
light
reference.
bulbs.
So the left side is all light novels, and then you can see the rest is manga. The Chobits one is actually, they're stored downwards because that's just how the carrying case is. Yeah, Shondo cameo, let's go. But yeah, you can see the size difference there. And yeah, so that's the standard size for a manga in Japan versus the size of a light novel. Which is actually, Japanese manga is actually slightly smaller than the US releases. Fun fact.
I wonder why. I wonder if it has to do with like how it's printed.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
But also the US doesn't use the same paper sizes.
Mm.
The A4, B4, etc. Type sizing is not used in the US.
Sheesh. Okay. All right. So we got a printing history lesson too. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's less the big hands and more the fact that the US does not use metric.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, imperial versus metric, that's actually it. It's also why if you get posters from Japan, it's a huge nightmare getting frames in the US for them because all posters and tapestries are all done by the same metric. They're all like most of my tapestries are like B2. Most of my posters are also like A5, I think, A4, and yeah, their US does not use those. So thickness is determined differently.
Yeah.
But yeah. So the way I can tell that those books sitting on the shelf behind them are not dojinshi is because they have obis on them. Basically, the little slips you see on the back of the spine, they wrap around the book. The smaller ones like that are pretty much only on commercial releases. So you won't find those on dojinshi.
Wait,
Like
what did
all of those have.
What did he say? What it was in the video? Did he like say
No.
something different?
No, he doesn't mention what they are behind them.
Okay.
But I just thought it was interesting to note, just because like I can just tell, just by like looking at.
Like that, but the thin books are in one section, and then there are goods in other sections. So
Like here,
I
I'll
guess
go
we'll
back a
do
little bit.
obviously
450,000 or something.
450,000.
Yeah.
There is.
Like, see, you can see
thousands
the
of shelves. I
wraparound,
mean, this,
the
like,
obis
you can
on
only see
them.
maybe one shelf at the moment, but this
yeah.
goes on for God knows how many shelves. How many do you think right now, like books there are on
Yeah,
this
but
one?
Shondo.
450,000 or something.
450,000?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So each section is split off into obviously different types of stuff. So right now we're at the, just the standard books and stuff like that. But the thin books are in one
Okay,
section.
he did say they're
and then
standard
the
books.
goods in other sections. So I guess we'll kind of...
Fun fact, thin book is actually one of the names for a dojinshi in Japanese.
Really?
Yeah. They will refer to them as thin books.
Mm.
Because they are very thin.
I love how Japan always has to like describe what type of book it is, and when they do, you know exactly like what kind of like story or like what type of what to expect when you're about to read it.
Yeah, I think some of it's just because like you don't usually like I guess you don't typically necessarily refer to them as like dojin manga all the time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Kind of walk around and see what they have. I mean, they have literally everything, but you know, I want to see what specifics they have. Jeez, look at that. That's so many. Like, I'm seeing over there, like, the numbers, it goes all the way to 29. There's 29 rows of this, and it just goes on forever. This is
Myron
just
will
one
be like
row,
this
by the
one
way.
day.
You found anything you
It
like?
really will.
I can't show
It's
them
the
on camera.
dream.
I mean, you know, there are some of them where I think, like, the cover is just, you know, the cover is passable. Maybe if I open up the books, it might be bad, but I don't know if you can, like, pull the camera up and just, like, get it over the top view, but, like, look at that. It just goes on forever. So I finally found a dojin that I think is okay enough for YouTube standards, YouTube Puritans. See, she's wearing clothes. Don't worry. Don't age restrict this video, please. I beg of you. So yeah, as you can see, the tag is put into the plastic, ready to be
Oh wait,
slapped
Chimo,
into the
that
box.
the
And
price
they
tag
do
that's on
this.
that.
What about it?
I remember you were telling me about how like normally when you go to like Comic Kit, it's like cheaper than that, right? But then
Oh yeah. So at Comic Hut, the books are always cheaper than buying them in a consignment shop. Obviously because the consignment shop has to make money to stay in business and have a warehouse. They're usually not a big markup. So if a book's like 500 yen at Comic Hut, it's gonna be like 700 yen at Toranoana and Melon Books.
and that's why that sticker's on there because it's like it's the added like
Well, they don't
price?
have a price on them otherwise.
hmm.
At event, people usually write sticky notes, and they're like, these are the prices.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So there's like no prices printed on them, and that's actually another big separation between doujinshi and commercial books. So like your typical like H manga, for example. Another fun fact. In Japan they don't refer to it as hentai. Hentai is not a genre. It means you're a pervert. Hentai is actually short for hentai seiyoku, which is abnormal sexual perversion or something like that. Yeah,
Chimo,
they
you're
call
saying
it.
some very like big words. For someone
Yeah.
who's like 4 feet tall.
They call it like erohon, or like, you know, lewd book, erotic book,
Mhm.
or like ero manga, ero anime,
Mhm.
ecchi, H manga, ecchi, because ecchi is just Japanese pronunciation for the letter H.
Mhm.
So ecchi actually means like it would basically be hentai in Japanese. You would call it like ecchi manga, ecchi anime. Which is funny because in the US, ecchi anime is for like fan service, right? But in Japan, an
Yeah.
ecchi anime is like what we would call hentai here.
That's so interesting how like it's just different.
Yeah. Because it's always funny to me because, like, you know, I'll hear people be like, yeah, I love ecchi anime, etc. When referring to
you're
fan
just-
servicey stuff. But then when you watch anime and they're like, ecchi shio, like, let's have sex. That's what they're saying when they say ecchi. And it's just like, in the anime, and it's just kind of like, I don't think that word means quite what you think it does.
It's the jelly donut syndrome with the rice balls.
It really is. Yeah. Come on, Mari, you don't like jelly donuts?
I mean, I do, but I mean, this one's kind of crunchy, and there's seaweed wrapped around it.
It's yummy though. It's got filling.
All right. We can watch more of the video before someone clips this and takes it out of context.
This like 100 million times over for all of these books. We literally like run down this hallway.
I love
wait,
how like
I
the
remember what I was
majority of
gonna
his
say.
video. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Commercial manga. So non-dojin H manga, etc. It's actually in the law. they have to write the price plus like tax on it. So if you ever get
Oh.
a commercial release, it'll say like 1,000 yen plus like 110 yen or something for the tax, and they like print that on the book itself. I forget the exactly how that law is. It's changed in the last couple of years too. So, but yeah, if you ever look at a Japanese manga, you will see that it has the price plus another price, and that's because it's the price of the book plus the tax.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, it's the consumption tax. That's what it is. Yeah. It's uniform across. Yeah, that's why. So they just print the consumption tax on it. So you know what you're paying in total. But it's
Honestly,
like they
I just started
specifically
using
have
that-
to print them separate. Like it has to be like book price plus tax, and then
Probably to make sure like
Yeah.
it's the correct price or something. I was gonna say like that sounds really smart. We should incorporate that Chimo in our content. The consume tax.
consumption tax. Yeah, it's like 10%.
Consumption tax. Also, I was gonna say I think it's interesting how we're 4 minutes in this video and the majority of it is him showing us how big it is. This warehouse.
Some
It's a
people like
warehouse,
big
right?
things, you know. Yeah, it's warehouse.
Okay, yeah, okay.
All those books.
If you guys have bought dojins before, then you know that sometimes you get
Sorry,
like,
he
little
amuses
special
me. I
items
don't know.
that come with
I
it,
think
so,
that
like,
stuff's
things
very
like hand
amusing.
badges. We got like this one, for example, like which I guess is like a
Wait,
little
hold on.
special manga.
Chimo.
Hmm.
Panties. Pantsu.
Yeah, they're cute ones too.
That's all
I
wanna
feel like
say.
I know this artist.
You probably do.
That comes with. It's really difficult to be able to show you like certain specific areas because from what I've heard,
And yeah, that is an A5 size, I believe. That the
Oh, that's right. You were I remember you were saying earlier about the differences between like A5 and all that. So because that one is so small, you're able to tell what size that one was.
yeah, it's actually somewhere in size to a normal manga, actually. Just to say that your standard dojin size is actually quite large. Actually really, really fast, right? I can actually pull this up really quickly, right? Just as a quick thing, right? Right, so yeah, like so here are the A sizes, right? So the whole thing is A0, A1 is that square, A2, etc., right? So this is how the like size breakdown works for A. And B is basically the same thing, the breakdown's just a little different. But yes.
A8 is really small.
Yeah, it's really small. So A5 is that corner there, and then so like an A4 is twice that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Basically
What
each
would an
step down
A8
is like
be? Like what would that be?
I'm not really sure. Probably like a business card.
What about like stickers? Like the
Yeah, they
rectangular
could be.
stickers.
Yeah, I think A8 would probably be about business card size.
Okay.
Because each one of these is like half the size of the other. And so given the size of the book that was in his hand, that A8 is like pretty small. But yeah. And then yeah, so that's like B6, A5 versus B5. I think B6 is the standard print size for a lot of manga. So standard manga, like I showed earlier, like these. So H manga is actually printed at a different size than non-H manga. Fun fact. With H manga being actually larger. I believe, if I remember correctly, regular manga is
You know why
B6.
it has to be larger, right? They gotta draw all those assets.
Most of what I read doesn't have many assets, but it's fine. But yeah, that's just a brief little thing. Oh, that's very small. But yeah, just a brief little rundown of like the sizing charts for these. I think it's easier when you can like see the comparisons to like how they break down, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. That's why I had to ask again because
Yeah.
I remember we talked a little bit about it.
But yeah, so B5 is standard size for a dojinshi, with the smaller ones being A5 and the larger ones being A4, which is obviously twice the size of this. A lot of art books will be like A4. But yeah. Educational time, you know?
Yeah.
Basically, if there is an open slot for a new item, they just shove it in and then they update the system. So it's kind of categorized, but not really categorized. It's certainly not categorized for humans, let's just say that. And that's why they have a special system to make sure that they can track every single item.
I heard about several years ago they did all this with paper and pens.
Sounds awful.
How many pieces of
It
paper
really
would
does,
they
but
have
it
had to
also
use?
I
mean, I'm
kind of
already,
believe
like,
it.
impressed when you go to like a bookstore and like you ask like for a specific book and the guy's just like, oh yeah, I know exactly where that is, and just goes straight there. Like it's kind of like that, except like Dark Souls level of difficulty. And cool as well because Toranana actually does a lot more than just dojins and manga and stuff like that. Like for example, you know, they have things like little tote bags right here. Look at these ninja card sleeves, dude. Yo, you got a bunch of Magic the Gathering cards that you want some six
Oh my
sleeves
gosh.
for? This is like blankets and stuff like that. as
Yeah,
well.
see, this is what I mean by like general like dojin goods.
Yes, I'm seeing more clothes than skin, so yeah.
There's a lot of
I
other-
believe this is all
Alright,
passion
cool,
projects.
we
You know
did
what I
it.
mean?
It's really difficult
Yeah.
to film in here because the safer work stuff is mixed.
You say that, Mari, but I have all that merch I got of Shimo, you know?
I mean, I also say this, but then I own every single gamer subs like item ever. Like literally, I was like, is that not just like me just being really passionate about like some collectible items? Like this
Yeah.
is like I'm the target demographic for this stuff. I like to buy these things. I'm literally wearing my new gamer sub blanket, the holy sheep thingy. So just like you, Shimo, I also am holding my little nerdy merch that I really enjoy right now.
Yeah. I think it's really fun, honestly.
It is really
Um,
fun.
And it's just like, honestly, there's something really nice to be able to like physically like have a copy of things, like being able to just sit down and like look through books, you know?
Yeah.
It's just
yeah.
a different feeling, and like I buy a lot.
I know.
I have a lot. But it's just like, I don't know, it's just like, I'm gonna spend the money. Why not get it physical if it exists, you know?
True. That's
Yeah,
very
does
true.
Mari have the Shimo P-shirt?
The what?
The Shimo P-shirt. Have you not seen the I peed in it shirt?
If you peed, Shimo, you know,
Chilly.
I'm just gonna here, Shimo. I'll take off my jacket and you can clean that up. There you go. Yeah, you can just clean that up. Time to wrap Shimo in small blanket.
For context, I have played Jackbox with some people, and for one of the drawing prompts, someone like drew me being like really smug, and then like they added the text caption of "I peed in that," and then a friend of mine made a shirt out of it, like an actual t-shirt.
I'm sad that I missed it, but honestly, that's awesome.
It's still available.
Hey yo, okay, chat, you know.
But yeah, for context of what they're talking about.
All the proceeds of the Shimo P-shirts will go directly to Shimo's Dojinshi's collection.
Yes, it will. Which I actually do keep a pretty thorough inventory of. Fun fact. I actually have it like pretty detailed. um,
That just means next time we collab, you gotta show off your collection that's not going to get us banned.
I mean, I could just like, where is it? I could like show this, right? I have a spreadsheet with like everything written down.
Oh my gosh. You're committed, okay.
Part of it's so I don't accidentally buy extras. But yeah, I haven't been able to post a like dojin tour on YouTube.
No. We'll figure out a way next time.
Yeah,
I got you.
we'll see. But yeah, I have a pretty large amount, like my vinyls and anime and like, yeah, light novels. Yeah. This is mainly just so like, because when I'm like buying stuff, there's sometimes like an artist I really like will do reprints or something.
Yeah.
Or like there's like one thing I want from them. Or like there's been a few occasions where like I've like bought something and then it's sold out because like the shop I bought it from has a physical location and it sold out in the shop before they could pull it for me. So then it's like when I find it again, it's like I have the memory of like, okay, like I know I ordered it. Did I ever actually get it? And there's sometimes where it's like I'll sometimes get things and I don't actually like look through them because I'm just so busy, and so I'll just shove it on my shelf for later.
And then you go to look, you're like, I didn't get this.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't even get that. I think I ordered it and I just didn't like it you know, that happened. And it's like, oh well, now I have two. Problem. Doesn't happen very often, but it does sometimes. Yeah, it's a spreadsheet for most of the stuff I bought. Yeah, or stuff I've received. But yeah.
In with the not safe work stuff. It's kind of cool, like that the distribution processes really does change even on the same floor. I mean, like, look at this area right here. There's like lots of tapestries and lots of like bonus cards and gifts that come with it. It kind of reminds me of like a hardware store, you know, like when you go to the section where there's all the different sizes of like screws and nails and stuff like that. And again,
I think this is one of the really cool points though he mentions here. So one of the cool things with both Tora no Ana and Melon books, and it actually does not apply just to doujinshi, is many times there will be exclusives for the shops if you buy from them. It's actually less common with doujinshi. It's more common with non-doujin works. So if you're buying like, if you pre-order an H manga, for example, right? Oftentimes there are bonus items that you see here.
Oh yeah.
If I look closer, I could probably
the bonus items are really cool.
Yeah. Oh, you can't see my cursor. But if you see the 02083 one here in the center, right? Kimita Soruko. But yeah, so it's a little pamphlet. It's like a couple pages, and just kind of normal paper, and it's like a bonus, like extra for the book, right? So like if you pre-order it, you'll get like, you can get like a pamphlet, right? It's like 4 to 8 pages, and it's like either just like, one of them I've gotten is like, it's like a small mini art book with like the sketches for the characters for the covers for their dojins. Because it's like, it was like an 8-part, it was like a multi-part dojin, and then it got a publisher's like, we want you to do more of this, and so it became like a full-blown like commercial release.
That's like the dream. That's really
Yeah,
cool.
so they made like a unique cover for the tankobon release, which is like the compilation of all the chapters that are, you know, published.
So these bonuses, can they be like sequels, or like maybe they further give context to the story, or is it
Yeah,
usually like
y-
character art?
yeah, it can be. They could be a lot of different things. A lot of the times it is like little, they're called omake bons, which they're just like extra bonus bits to chapters. They're usually very brief. Some do come with like extra art sketches and stuff like I
I
was
love
talking
that
about.
stuff. I love
Sometimes
those
it's
so
like
much.
little like illustration cards. And for some it's like exclusive like tapestries. Um,
Okay, now
one of
that's
one of
okay.
the ones
Hold
I
on.
got, one of the ones I got, I don't remember when it was. It was like earlier this year. It was like a special edition, right? And like it came with a microfiber towel print. And I'm like, this looks cool. And I got it, and the thing is huge. It's like the width of 2 dakimakura and just like massive. And I'm like,
My gosh.
where am I putting this? I found a spot. I put it on my wall because I'm like, I got this thing. I'm gonna put it on my wall.
So with these bonuses, if you like, you said you can get them if you like pre-order early, like you buy early enough. Are they always like the same, or are there different like bonuses?
So sometimes, usually they are different depending upon the shop you buy it from. So Toranoana will usually have different bonuses than Melon Books.
So like maybe like, oh, okay. So maybe one of them does like the cards, and then the other one is like a chapter or like a side story.
Yep, it actually can be like that. Yeah.
So what if it's the same like dojin? Does that mean you have to buy both?
Yeah.
This explains a lot.
Yeah. I usually,
Wait.
I will actually usually check a secondhand shop, because oftentimes people will pawn off their extra bonuses.
Is that why they do that CD thing with when they're trying to buy like concert tickets and stuff?
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. But that is the
Oh.
thing, yeah. They will often include like uh raffle tickets for concert tickets with as bonuses. Yep, there I definitely have my fair share of doujinshis with CDs and CDs that come with doujinshi. I have I have like 150-page Toho doujinshi that I got for the CD.
I
It
think
was
you
like
showed me that.
yeah, it was a CD that came with a 200-page
Yeah, you
Toho
showed me that. It's
doujinshi.
really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was my own tangent now, because I was like, I remember there was something that was really cool about that.
Yeah, the Love Live movie Blu-ray, for example, came with a code for like an exclusive card in the mobile game, but it also came with like a raffle ticket for their final concert.
Mm.
So there's like people like buy those in bulk to try to like, if they were like really hardcore fans, to get the ticket, and then they just sell all the extra copies to secondhand shops, and you can find them like really cheap. It's great. It's great until I want to be the one going to the concert, and then it's like, no, let me get
Yeah,
one. I want
it's
one.
gonna be yeah.
But otherwise, I'm like, yes, please do this more. I can get it for very cheap.
I mean, might as well.
Yeah. I think it was AKB that did it once, and they like sold like thousands of copies of their CD, and it became like a bestseller. And it's just kind of like, it's ingenious, but also it's like that's not really what bestseller was, I think, intended for. But
It's
you
like
know.
bestseller in like the wrong way.
Yeah, but you know, at the end of the day, it did sell the
It
most.
made money.
Yeah.
True.
Actually, I got a really old Mini Moni CD. I think it was earlier this year. They were like an old idol group, right? I got the like special edition. It's from like 2000. The CD was sealed. Everything was sealed. There was just some little bonus item that was taken out of it. I think it was like I don't think it was like a raffle card, but it was something that like I don't think I cared. I don't remember what it even was. So clearly I don't care enough about whatever it was. But like the rest of the thing was completely factory sealed. Like they clearly got it. They like opened enough to pull out the item and then like yeah, like
yeah, I don't care about the rest.
20 years later Shimo like got it and opened it. It's a thing. But yeah, I do think that's really cool that they'll do these like bonus things. And like you can see
Yeah.
it's a pretty wide variety of stuff. Like I think some of those look like stickers. A lot of these are just like omake bonds. They're just like
Mm-hmm.
paper print black and white bonuses. I say paper because that's actually what it says on there. It's referred to as like paper omake bon. Basically it's done on ordinary like cheap paper instead of like nice quality print.
A
Makes
lot of
sense.
these are also
Yeah.
Toranana exclusive
You can like really see it.
as well.
Like,
So these are little
with the
extra
quality of
bonuses,
some of
and
them.
another reason why, if you're gonna buy dojins from anywhere, might as well be Toranana. And I know this video is sponsored, so it might not come off like that, but like I also like just generally use Toranana for a lot of my
Yeah,
dojins
classic
as well,
coffee
so
blonde.
this is like a real customer review. Like the extra bonuses in Toranana, I think, in my opinion, are really worth it. Of course, though, Toranana doesn't just have hentai dojins and manga and stuff like that. They also have the anime variety as well, such as this entire section right here. That's all DVD Blu-ray box sets. Some CDs of like soundtracks, big figures, and they've even got box sets of visual novels and erogaze as well, because
As we
Toranana
talked
has
about earlier.
everything for
Yeah.
your otaku needs. If you had infinite amount of money and you decided to come
But
in,
yeah, you can see what what I was talking about earlier. They all have the yellow obi. They all have the obis around them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the top row there is some light novels. But the bottom row there is all hentai. It's all H manga. And I can
Barely
just tell.
censored.
Yeah. I can tell it's H manga because how they actually stylize the spine for H manga is completely different from anything
Yeah,
else.
you can see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely different.
Like they're very, very different. You can see it in how they stylize the text, how they lay out the labeling on them.
They
Beyond
probably
just
do
the
that so that
fact,
way people can differentiate, like,
yeah.
which
Well,
one's
I mean,
which.
you can also tell that this size is a lot larger than the rest, anyway.
Hmm.
Also, I think that's Henreader I see there. Right next to the yellow book there on the bottom row. I'm pretty...
and be like, hey, I want to buy one of everything you have in this factory. How much money will
I'm
you have
pretty
to
sure
spend
that's
for
what
it?
that
So
is. I
just
think
asked the
that's what that
staff,
is.
roughly how many titles does Toranana actually have in their system? And it's a very rough estimate, but they said it's around 100,000 titles. So
I can
Shimo's just built different.
I can tell because I own it. I can tell because I own the book. And I know how the spine is laid out on it. The spines are actually really, really that like unique on H manga. They're actually really that unique that sometimes you can actually tell what it is just by seeing a vague outline of it. But yeah. Let me see. Yeah, I feel like it is. Might not
maybe
be. Might
each
not be.
title is like, let's say on average, I don't know, 700 yen. That would be 70 million.
Yeah, it'll say BL on
Yeah,
some of them.
$500,000 US. That's a lot of dojins. Fuck. I thought one little detail that was kind of fun or quirky was like the little signs up there. Very reminiscent of like when you go to a train station in Japan. And apparently before, from what I heard, they actually used to name each section of the factory after like.
See,
real
that's
train
really
stations.
cool.
So there were areas
That's
of the
really
factory that were,
cool.
like, Akihabara or,
That
like,
is good
Sapporo, and it's
information.
like, it was like trying to navigate around Japan inside the factory. So that's like a
It
little
only
fun
took
quirky
7
thing
minutes
that
into
they
the
used.
video, though.
Obviously, they don't do it.
Yeah, you know, it only took us an hour and a half to get 7 minutes into the video.
Exactly.
I feel like I've done a good job of keeping pretty on topic for the most part.
You have done so good. You've done so good.
It's just so easy to go on tangents, you know?
Mhm,
I
yeah.
don't know why, but I guess still the remains of it can be seen today. Okay, so I get to do a little bit of an experience, I guess, of what it's like to
You know, for a lot of the video, his shirt's pretty fitting.
be working in this factory. So I have these two funky
I mean-
gadgets attached to me. First is obviously just like
Yeah.
a little phone thing that's attached to
Yeah.
my wrist right here. So the things that I'm gonna have to go and pick up will appear.
I don't
on-
know
Like,
why, but
When he's
this
not,
just reminds me of like Costco or like Sam's Club, like that thing that he has on his wrist.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure I've seen like those employees like use it when they go to scan stuff.
yeah. I think like if he wasn't trying to sell this as a factory, this would be such a cool video because I think
It
the
would.
logistics of it is like actually really cool. Like if he's just like, yeah, this is the logistics for Toro no Ana, I think that's really cool. Like personally,
But
I
no,
think that's
he had
really,
to
really
get the
cool.
clickbait, Chimo. He had
Yeah,
to get the clickbait.
I know, but like,
on
Because
this
that's
phone.
not gonna
And I
get
also
clicks,
have
but when you
this,
put,
little
you know, this is how
laser
hentai's made,
right
it's
here.
gonna get clicks.
yeah,
a piece of
I
paper.
mean,
It
fair.
seems
that
a little
has an
misleading.
order. I'm gonna
It's like
use
this
little
this
scanner
video
right here to
is
scan the barcode.
definitely clickbait.
And
That much
then
I will
it's gonna
say.
appear
Yeah.
right here. So I'm gonna start the order.
Like, I don't care about clickbait titles. It's just like, if you're gonna go in and just be like, yeah, this is where it's made, this is where it's made. And like, physically say it while nothing is being made around you.
But Chimo, the saran wrap presser.
My God.
And it tells me how many of what dojin and in what area it's going to be. So the area is 3B0102 103. We have to
Like, listen, I want to get views as well, but I really don't want to, like, I couldn't bring myself to bullshit that hard.
use essentially all of
That's
the
what people say about
numbers
my
right there
chest
to
size,
figure
but
out
you know,
where
I'm
exactly
kidding, I'm kidding.
this dojin is. Let's go and pick up these dojins.
I'm kidding.
01,
YouTube, please don't
2 to 5,
demonetize us. We're
routine
good
number
doodles.
2.
We're good.
Yeah,
There it is.
I'm very pure and
It looks
innocent.
exactly the same as on the thing, and it says that we need 5 of these. So I'm going to scan 5 of these. So 2 and 5.
Thank you.
And then it moves on to the next.
I mean, the title of the video is "This is where all of Japan's hentai is made," and that's not happening. There's none being made. He keeps saying it's a factory. It's not a
I mean,
factory.
That is just YouTube. It's not like, you know, remember, the whole joke about Joey is that he's the anime man, but he doesn't watch anime. Just keep that in mind. Like, that is like the joke amongst him and his friends.
Okay, but here's my thing, right? He's literally there. And there's nothing being shown of them getting printed.
No, but he's doing this cool scanning thingy.
I think it's cool. I think that's so cool.
Next one. So this one has no
Yeah, it's their
image,
logistics
but it's in
warehouse for shipments.
3B14
And storage.
14101. Here, we need one of these.
Thank you.
Can you imagine before
so
this
neat.
thing was implemented, all the employees had to remember where everything was. They got a picture of maybe like the cover or the name of the dojin, and they just had to be like, oh yeah, I think this one was around this area. Thank God for technology. 3B0208-101. 3B0208-101.
Thank you.
Hey, listen, I am all for clickbait titles if it gets people to watch your content. I don't have an issue with that. My issue is that, like,
Shimo knows a lot about this particular
Yeah.
topic, so she was huffing and puffing and pouty mouthing
I
when she was looking at
am.
this.
Like, listen. I don't really care about clickbait titles, but when you're gonna, like, walk around and be like, yeah, this is where all this stuff is made, and
Yeah,
not
don't clickbait Shimo.
and not show, like, any of it, that's just, like,
Yeah.
disingenuous.
You guys gotta understand. She was having a little bit of technical issues earlier, and she was getting so cute and pouty because she's like, I want to start
Yeah.
stream so bad. I want to talk to chat about this. Like, she's been very passionate about this for the past several days.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'll do clickbait titles all I want. It gets views,
I'll teach
but
you. I'll teach you.
Yeah, Nate-chan's really good at it. She'll teach me her piece.
Mm.
But I'm not gonna make things up. That's the thing, right?
You're welcome. Well, this one's a.
I
little
think
bit of a
that's the
thin one.
important
This is an
difference.
unofficial fan book.
Thank you.
And it says there, picking ga kanryou shimashita. The picking is complete. And now, we've got everything that this order has to get. So we put it into the box right here. And there we go. That's the picking complete. That was actually kind of fun because you get to like actually, you know, walk around and like see what kind of things people are buying and stuff like
He
that.
says
And
it
I'm
was fun,
sure
but it
after
probably
a
took him
while,
like an
you'll
hour.
have complete understanding of where everything is, but technology certainly helps, that's for sure. So a little like tidbit that I thought was actually kind of interesting that I heard from the staff is that apparently the actual placements of each of the books on each of the respective floors matter.
Yeah, it's
Apparently,
basically a
the
side
ones that
quest.
are picked up more often, the more popular books are actually closer to the elevators, and the more rarer ones, or the ones that don't get ordered
Listen,
as
when you're like a
often,
rich
are
and
actually
famous
further away,
YouTuber,
which makes a lot of
And
sense.
see, that makes a lot of
Blaine-
sense.
If you're constantly going
Blaine
to pick
has,
up
like, a
certain
minimum
item,
wage
then you
job
want it
for
to
just
be
a few
closer to
minutes
the
is pretty
elevators
fun
where
for a lot
all
of
the
people.
packing and action happens. So I guess that little aspect they've thought about, and that's actually quite smart because it makes the process a little bit faster. But we're on the third floor right now, and you might think it looks exactly the same as the second floor. In a lot of ways, yes, it does. But the second floor, as I showed you, has a lot of different stuff. Things like manga, tapestries, some figures and stuff like that. This floor, let's just say, has a lot more not safe for work things in here, so I'm gonna have to be very careful with that. Another key
Yeah, he says that as though there wasn't a ton of not safe for work stuff on the other floor. Like he walked by. Like, I think this is actually a pretty fascinating video if you just like removed all the like make believe. You know, like if you got rid of the whole like, oh yes, this is a factory bit, right? I think it's a really interesting video if you're just like, yeah, this is my tour of, you know, their logistics place and how they handle shipments for you know, dojinshi. I think
But
that
the
would be pretty cool.
hentai is what gets the views, Shimo.
difference between
I
the second floor that
guess.
we were just at and this current third floor is
You
that
know
the
what?
second floor is mostly publication.
I
So
just
basically
realized
pre-existing
the word
manga,
hentai has
anime that
AI
have
in
been-
it, and AI is bad, which means hentai is bad, which means you're going to hell. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
It's okay because in Japan it's not called hentai.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay, okay, you can continue. I was just
then
thinking about that.
created by dojin artists. Whereas this third floor is full-on, proper, independently created original works. So a lot of them as well.
So they're original dojin works. Oh my god. I can't. I actually genuinely don't know what he's trying to say with that because like some of the stuff he showed on the other floor were original works as well. So I actually don't know what like. Well, no, because the stuff on the other floor was also dojins. Like both floors have dojins on it. Like so, it's just like I feel like someone told him something
think-
and like tried to explain something, and he's just like,
What if it's like original characters on this floor, and then because like the bottom floor that he was at had parody stuff in it, so maybe it's
but
like
it also had original character stuff. I feel
yeah,
like
I don't know.
I feel like maybe one of the people working there tried to explain something to him, and he's just like not understanding because he doesn't really. I get the feeling like he doesn't really know what these terms mean, and so he's like very much not understanding like what he's talking about and the process of it.
It's just Twitter all over again.
Pretty much. But yeah, because that like I'm gonna go back and hear what he said again because I'm kind of confused and I don't know if I just missed something.
Some figures and stuff like that. This floor, let's just say, has a lot more not safe for work things in here, so I'm gonna have to be very careful with that. Another key difference between the second floor that we were just at and this current third floor is that the second floor is mostly publications. So basically pre-existing manga, anime that have been then created by dojin artists. Whereas this third floor is full-on, proper, independently created original works. So a lot of them, as well, can be NSFW, but also can be safe for work as well. For instance, this one right here.
My dude, there's an R18 label on there. That's NSFW.
I
For-
mean,
For those who don't know, R18 means restricted 18, which is to say you have to be 18 to read it, which is another way to say that it is NSFW.
but it's so cute, Chimo. How could this cute thing possibly be not safe for work? I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I honestly think he just grabbed something random that was just near him.
Oh,
I really don't. And then
definitely.
he just started talking. Was like, "Oh shoot! Well, I already said it. Let's just keep rolling."
Yeah. I'm, like watching this, I'm just like, I'm actually more curious about what's actually happening on the floors and how they sort it. And I wish he went into actual detail about like what the actual differences between the floors are, or if there really is a difference. It does feel like there is a difference. So one thing to know about like Toranoana itself, right, is a lot of their stores are like multi-level, right? And like some levels are like dedicated to certain things. Like one floor is dedicated just to like yaoi and BL, and that's like all you'll find on that floor, for example, right? So I do wonder if they have something similar going on in their warehouse. But I do notice that there's a lot more dojinshi on this floor, just from looking at the shelves briefly. Than it seemed like on the other, because I noticed a lot of like commercial releases on the other. So maybe this one is more dedicated to like, dojin works and less commercial works than the other. I guess we'll see.
That's the fun thing about dojins, is that the cover might be safe for work, but you open it up and it might be the most NSFW shit you've ever seen. Here
That
is
is
the machine
true.
right here that packages
That one
all of the
especially.
dojins that are going to be eventually shipped off. The dojins are individually packed right now into paper packages, and then this little section right here
Is
is
he
where
showing us the
it all
same
gets
thing he did
packaged
at the
into the
beginning of the
plastic.
video?
I've always loved
No.
these kinds of like, factory kind of machinery and stuff like that to see how it all works, because you always wonder like, how do they do it so fast, And obviously it's machines like this that do all the work for it. They put them into the packaging, they snip off the little bits, and then the remains go into this little bin right here. And then once it's fully packaged, it goes into this machine where it is then probably pressed, and then it makes its way out over to the other side
so
where it's
cool.
ready to be put into the box.
Yeah.
So this is a part where they actually take the dojins that were wrapped up in the plastic that I showed you earlier, and they fold it up into little packages or boxes. You can see right there that there is a massive line
He explained
of
right there
dojins
then.
that are coming through,
Yeah, like this is
getting
cool.
put into boxes, and then right
Like I actually have always wondered how they do this. So it's actually, this is how they ship stuff out in Japan. They seal it to a piece of cardboard like that, and then ship it in a big box. And it'll just be like, it can be huge piles of dojins that they'll just pile up and then seal to a piece of cardboard like that. And I find it really neat because I think it makes a really sturdy way of like shipping books like that, because they are thin. Therefore, like if you send them in like a normal box, like not packed tightly like that, they just shift around.
That's like the worst thing about like when you buy stuff and they send you little postcards. It's like a little gift and it's all bent up because yeah.
And they'll do that for CDs as well, so that way the CDs don't get shattered in the mail and stuff. I think it's really cool, and I've actually have wondered like how that works. So that is really cool to see. I've always wondered like, because they're not the only ones that do that. A lot of the shops actually mail stuff out that way, so I've always been curious. So I guess a lot of them have like a machine like this for it.
right over here is where the machine Does this work? It's pretty cool, actually, seeing how these like robots actually are able to do stuff that are
Okay,
just
Joey,
a
show
million
us
times
more, though. I
faster than
wanna
any
see
human
it.
could do it. All right,
Yeah.
now we are on the
No,
fourth
I
and
want-
final floor of the factory, and as you can see, this is where pretty much the final processing happens. All the dojins are shipped off into boxes, and they are either sent to the different stores or they are sent to the customers. Wow, there's just a sea of boxes right there. All of those filled with some fine fabric material. But of course, it's not just Japanese people who are.
I've received
Or
many
it could
boxes
be-
like
Of
this
course,
before.
They have a massive
could be a
market
comfy
for
blanket.
the foreigners, you guys who are watching this video right now. And this entire section right here is where you guys from overseas are buying the goods. There is a list right here of.
I'm not sure if he's saying that, like... I'm not sure what he means by that. Toranoana does not actually ship overseas. So I'm not quite sure what he means by, like, this is where your stuff is, like, stuff going to you.
So how would like people buy it through this?
So typically you would use a proxy service or a forwarding service. Yeah, it seems like a pretty standard shipping practice in Japan. But yeah, so typically you'd use a proxy or a forwarding service. So proxy service is you send them the links and they buy it for you for a pretty large fee. I actually never used a proxy and I avoid them because
They're really expensive. I have used them before.
Yeah.
I wanted to get some like clothing. It was they charged you by like the weight, and they wouldn't ship it out until your package weighed a certain amount. And yeah, it was just
interesting.
really
That's
expensive.
I did not know that. That's how some of them did it.
Yeah,
A
yeah. it
lot of
was,
them charge a
weird.
percentage. So it's a percentage of the total. So if
Mhm.
a lot of them, I think the standard is like 15% of the total for your order. So it's like 15% of like the item cost plus the tax and like the shipping to them, I think. And then another 15% goes to them on combining all that, I think. So it can add up really fast. And a forwarding service is basically you pay a small amount and you order the item yourself and have it shipped to them, and then they just slap a new label on it and send it on to you. And of course, for some, you can pay a little more. Depends on the service. Some get really expensive for it, others are not. Like, some will only charge, like... Some will charge a flat fee, and others will charge per box. But you can do, like, multiple orders, and then they will repackage it all into one box and send it on. I typically find that's worth doing if they ship stuff in boxes this way, though, because the boxes are really large. It's a lot of empty
Yeah.
space, so it'll just be really expensive because it's a very large box. But
And
it
it's, like,
actually,
shipping
I really
internationally,
do like
too.
it. It makes sense because they don't have to use packing material when shipping it, you know?
Hmm.
So you reduce waste by just shipping it sealed to the cardboard like that. And usually it gets like stuck to the bottom of the box as well, so it doesn't really move around. It's actually really, really convenient, really nice. But yeah, so those are like the two main ways of like the two
Shimo,
ways of
every
ordering
time you
stuff.
pause on Joey's face, he's always doing something so cursed. Every single time.
I didn't notice, but
All of the
here
things
we are.
that this particular person has decided to buy. So I know exactly what kind of taste you guys have. And for those of you who do actually want to buy your dojins through Toranana, then stick around to the end of the video and I'll show you exactly how to do it. But obviously, there are a bunch of you guys who are already in
I'm
that
probably
game,
not gonna
who
go
are
over that
already
section.
getting the goods from Toranana.
I mean, you
So
just
good
pretty
job
much
on
explained
explaining
it,
this.
so.
So
Yeah.
Toranana has given us special permission to ride this little elevator right here and get a top-down
Maybe
view
if they want to
of just
sponsor
how
me as well
massive this
to
factory
go
is.
over that,
I
I
gotta
will,
get into a
but
harness and helmet first, 'cause
otherwise,
I
apparently
mean,
it's
hey,
really
you
dangerous.
know.
Good luck to me. All right, ready to go.
I probably killed those chances by saying I don't like proxies.
But just because because you don't doesn't mean that other people. Because here's the thing: you have the resources, and like you can also read Japanese. This
Yeah.
is like proxies are amazing for people who don't know any Japanese or anything like that.
And this is just one room.
That is one of the big things with proxies is like they handle all communication with the shops. With area at times.
Yeah.
So it does make sense. It does make a lot of sense. Definitely advantages to using a proxy if you do not speak Japanese. Some places do require you to use a proxy. There's not really a choice. Yahoo Auction Japan is a big example for that. They do not allow overseas people to make accounts, and you can't necessarily handle the payments from overseas either. So
they're gatekeeping,
somewhat, yeah. But yeah, for like sites where you cannot order from overseas, like you're kind of forced to use a proxy regardless. In my case, I hit up a friend, so I don't have to pay fees because I am cheap.
Just very base.
It's just like, man, you know, like 15% on like a 10,000 yen order is like 1,500 yen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, that's like a whole nother like dojin or two, or like a whole nother CD or two. It's like, you know.
Shimo has calculated, you guys. You gotta understand, okay?
That's more money I can spend on things. You know?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I like free stuff, so, you know, it's free.
Same.
And if it's not free, well, I'll find a way to make it free. Everything's free if you try hard enough. Anyways.
The one other thing, though, that's important with it, too, though, is if it's, like, stuff that's gonna sell out fast. Being able to buy it myself versus waiting on... Like, because proxies don't necessarily buy stuff immediately, right? So it can be like a few days for them to actually order something. Whereas, like, if I'm doing it, you know, I'm like, I got to unlock. Definitely do not want to buy bootleg figures. That is buying bootlegs is a bad idea. I actually plan to... I'm going to try to do a video on that as well. Of why buying bootlegs is not a good idea.
You want to see my bootleg Pokemon cards? We could do that for like that stream because yeah, I could definitely share some insight with that.
I've also seen I've seen a lot of really, really cursed bootleg figures get posted online.
I actually have bootleg figures that you can't tell are bootleg, which is so yeah, this will be a fun stream. Definitely next time. I want to be a part of that.
We'll see. That'll definitely be down the line. Like with figures it's one thing, but like with like one of the worst is like dakimakura, right? Because like for example, like if you go to an anime convention, 99% of the dakimakura you find are going to be bootlegs. You're very unlikely to find legit dakimakura at an anime convention unless it's being sold by like Faku.
What did you just say?
Faku.
Oh, okay. You like your microphone cut out for me during that part, so all I heard was
sorry.
You can buy it at Faku. And I was like, whoa, Shimo.
But yeah, no, like generally speaking at like anime cons, dakimakura covers are generally bootlegs. And they will try to like up the price as much as they can. But I think one of the worst things with a lot of the bootlegs, right, is they either they pull the images off of Google and just print whatever. They use really cheap material that's not good. And in some of the more egregious cases, they actually will have artists trace the original if it's not good enough to put on the pillow. And so it's like a really, really low quality trace of the original art that they sell. And it's just very,
Chemo,
very gross.
with the amount of knowledge you have, couldn't you just can't you just find a way to just make yourself taller and come up here with me? You're so big brained. I feel like we need to have you somehow find a way to fill that massive head of yours with
But
adorable knowledge.
you see, I'm at perfect head padding height.
That is true, actually.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm at the ideal height for you to give me head pats, you know?
You know what I like? Every time when we collab, you always look like you're trying your best to be on like your tippy toes to be at the tallest point with me.
A little bit. Yeah, Sia is pretty good quality. I do kind of want to try to do a video on Dakimakura quality and such at some point.
Hmm.
Some really good guides for it. But yeah, a lot of bootlegs are usually they're a lot of the times they're printed on peach skin, which is like really, really gross.
Like the fruit?
No. It's a really, really cheap printing material, and it doesn't feel good. And then the more expensive, the really nice fabrics, just like they feel so nice. The next time you visit, I'll let you touch my Nahida Daki, and you can see what the like really, really nice materials feel like.
Okay.
You know, those like really soft and like fuzzy blankets with the really plush, like almost fur type material on them, right?
Mm-hmm.
The really nice Daki materials can feel like that on your hand. It's just
The fact that Shimo's actually going to let me touch her grass wife means she really trusts me because, like, you don't understand. She really loves Nahida so much. So, like, I feel honored that you would let me have the privilege to feel very nice, high quality materials.
Of course, you're my own agent. I mean, I technically do have a peach skin Daki on my wall. Actually, no, I don't know if it's peach skin or not. I don't think it actually is. I don't think I have one. But yeah, there's I don't want to get too on this tangent, but yeah, there's a huge list of different quality factors with Dakis and different specific manufacturers that are better than others. It's a whole thing. But it definitely makes a difference. It can be the quality to the touch, but also just how durable and how long lasting the print will be.
It's actually a really good point.
Like a peach skin one won't last as long and it won't look as nice.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it feels awful. It feels very rough. But yeah. Anyways, I think we're getting close to the end, so let's continue.
Whoa.
That was cool. I was like really high up and really sick. You could get like a great view of just how massive this factory is. Well guys, that was the Toronto factory tour. Hopefully you guys...
Oh my... Yep. This part right here is when Shimo messaged me and said, Mari, we need to make a video on this. And she's like,
My
And I was like, "What's
Toronto
wrong,
factory
Shimo?"
tour, as it says Toronto Logistics Center right behind him.
Yeah. And then Shimo went all was all angry and stuff, and then I started laughing. Yeah, this part right here. Look at him caught in 4K or 720p, I guess.
Yeah, Logistics Center equals factory. Yeah, this is why I was so upset, because it's just like, okay, it's one thing like if you're just calling it a factory, but
Just
like
the clickbait, right? And for like the meta tags and stuff because of YouTube's algorithm, right? But that right there.
But he's saying it the whole time.
And YouTube is just like, it recognizes that it doesn't. I don't know. It's just interesting.
I don't know. I don't know how that works.
You guys enjoyed it. I learned a lot and I got to see a ton of cool stuff that I pretty much don't really get to share because a lot of this is kind of secret. So first of all, big thank you to Tonana for letting me film in here. But since this is a sponsored video and there's probably a bunch of you guys who are like, I live overseas, Joey, but I want to know how to buy my dojins off Tonana. How do you do it? Teach me, sensei. Well, for that, I will leave it up to future Joey to explain how to do it. Take it away, Joey.
And there I see him, because the rest is their sponsored, but...
Oh my gosh, he looks like the is this the butterfly thingy that, you know what I mean? He goes, is this a factory? Is this where Japan's hentai is made? Is this where dojin's made? You know, like things like that. It kind of looks like that. Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Yeah,
Is this
Avatar,
clickbait?
he might have confused some poor Japanese guy. Like, also the word for a logistics center in English is factory, huh? Yeah, no! That's what I'm saying! It's literally on the sign! It's on the sign.
Oh
Like,
man.
that's what had me so, like, peeved about this. It's like, you know, like, it'd be one thing if, like, he just, like, had a misunderstanding. But, like, it's literally printed on the sign in English. In English! Right behind him.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't get it.
Yeah. It's so this video was sponsored for him. So I think they might have like he was allowed to go to this logistics center because of the sponsorship, maybe?
Yeah, my like, it sounds like, his sponsor, like, set this up. The proxy company that sponsored him. That's kind of what
Which
I've
is
gathered
really
from it.
cool. So
Yeah,
I mean,
think it's
hey.
cool. Hey, like, I would love to tour it.
Yeah. Yeah, just saying.
Yeah, Mari can come film with me.
Yeah, I could be the camera person, you know?
Exactly. Not quite sure how that'll work, but we'll figure something out.
Anything's possible at this point. So
Yeah.
Yeah, this was like really cool, Shimo.
Yeah, I do think it's really cool. Like, if, like, as far as the logistics aspect of it goes, I think it's really cool. Like, I thought it was really cool. I thought there was a lot to learn. I don't think he broke safety regulations. I would assume they, like, he clearly had someone there that, like, did help instruct things at times to keep them safe. So, like, it doesn't seem like would have been an issue.
Yeah, it's
I don't
probably
need to
just
be.
like I think like when it comes to things like this, if you notice throughout the whole video, there was like pretty much nobody around, so they probably gave them access to just certain areas where they know they wouldn't get hurt or anything like that, like the absolute safest parts.
Yeah. I mean, clearly they definitely got to see, like, more than they showed, obviously, because they had to have been
Yeah.
there for a while.
Yeah.
But it's
Which
like,
is still really cool.
but obviously there was someone to bring him up on the thingy at the end. So, like, clearly, like, if he needed to be wearing any protective stuff, they
They probably
provided
were being
it.
supervised too.
Oh yeah, they weren't just gonna let him, like, run off and go scan things. on his
Yeah.
own.
Yeah. Mhm. Dang, Shimo, I feel like you gave so much more context about this entire like cultural I don't know, it's like a Japan thing. I don't know. So it's so fascinating. You gave like a whole background context to this. Remember how you
Yeah.
said earlier about how YouTube videos always condense everything? Well, you have now uncondensed this
Yeah,
video.
I've tried. And as far as the secret thing goes, there actually probably is a lot of secret things. I don't know what, but that's like Honestly, that sounds like a very Japanese company
Yeah,
type
which is
thing.
really cool.
Yeah. They probably have some way of doing something that's just like, yes, this is how we do things here and only here.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I mean, that's what makes a lot of the stuff like this so unique and so special. And it's why like we need to differentiate this kind of stuff because it's already bad enough that everybody thinks that dojin and dojinshi means like it's automatically not safe for work. And clearly, as we've seen from the logistics center, it's not.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's just like, there's so much cool stuff. There's so many cool options or like things that happen, and there's so many cool topics to cover that it's just like, there's no need to like make stuff up, right? Like if you drop the whole like this is where like stuff is made, this is the factory. I hope you enjoyed the factory. She's just like, yeah. I hope you enjoyed like seeing how all the inventory is managed at like one of the largest dojinshi shops in Japan. Like that would be yeah. 'Cause that's what that was, and it was actually really cool seeing how they do stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And I think like that actually, surprisingly, that actually reflected the views of this video because when you look on his YouTube channel, this one didn't do as well in um viewership. So clearly, there are some people who probably thought it was clickbait or something and then clicked off.
What do you mean by the proper term for what casuals call dojins? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Yeah, I mean, there's like dojinshi, there's ero manga, there's dojin music, dojin goods. I mean, there's a lot of different names for it, because some of it would be like dojin manga, some would be dojin manga, and some is not dojinshi, not dojin at all. I find a lot of what people share around is usually not dojin. Um, they're just normal outer manga. Yep, Kainex did start out by making dojin animations.
So
Just
like, if it's not like, so if it's not safe for work, but it's not a dojin, then it's just an arrow manga. Is that what you said?
um, if it's not a dojin, then you would just kind of call it an arrow manga. Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully that answers the question since it is really hard to talk about since like these are Japanese like words. It pertains to a lot of
Yeah.
Japanese culture and we don't have that in English. So
So,
and we don't want to just completely localize it. Again, we're not trying to do the whole jelly donuts thing here. So we're trying our best to like explain it without we're not Japanese and Japanese is not their first
yeah.
language. We'll be able to understand it.
It'd be a dojin manga, because the dojin is not a thing. It's a descriptor.
Which is the main reason why people get that
Yeah.
confused because they think it's a
So
thing.
you have like dojin ongaku, which is dojin music, right? You have dojin shi, which is dojin written material. So the shi in dojin shi actually means magazine. Um, but as a verb, it's shirusu, which is to write down. So essentially, dojinshi is anything like written down. So novels, manga, magazines, art books. I believe art books are included in that. The art books are typically called irasto hon, or illustration books. um, but yeah, basically just like dojin manga, dojin novel, that type of thing. Dojin literally would translate as same person. That is actually the kanji used for it.
Yeah. Man, Shimo, I think I grew a new brain cell after tonight.
Yay! Congrats.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. It would not be. Could be ero manga. It could be dojin manga. It could be a
Oh
magazine.
no, I'm just like, see, I'm way past my, I'm way past my extended bedtime here.
Yeah, you know.
I was so like I said, Shimo is so passionate about this, and it's like it's so inspiring seeing her get like all like really like otaku into this, so to say. And I'm just sitting here like, bro, I just can't stop looking at Joey's face with the with what he's doing with his hands.
I
Is this
mean,
clickbait?
if it's a dojin and it's a manga, it would be a dojin manga. There really isn't any
Dojin
like
manga.
there isn't really any like specific like you would just describe it like you would anything else, like R18, ero,
Yeah.
adult only, like manga, dojin
Mm.
manga. I don't know. It's not really like how you usually talk about it, like in Japanese. So it's like hard to explain. But basically, yeah, like a dojin is just like a descriptor for different things.
Yeah. And I feel like using the word like an adjective is just not the right representation for it. I think using the word descriptor, like what you just said, Shimo, is more fitting.
Yeah, well, because that is how it's used. It's attached to other words. So like if you like look up different categories of it, like dojin specifically, like you could for like a manga just call it a dojinshi because it is a dojin written material, right? So it is
Yeah.
a dojinshi. But that is not inherently without context. That is not very specific because it could be, novels, magazines, etc. But generally speaking, like a dojinshi is going to refer to a manga, but it's
Okay.
not going to mean it's ero or not.
Okay. Okay.
No,
Mhm.
it's like pretty easy because you have dojin manga and then you have non-dojin manga, and those are very clear different things. So it's like very easy. It's very easy to differentiate it. Basically, anything that is not released at a dojin event, anything that, well, actually, it's actually more simple than this. Basically, anything that is commercially published is not a dojin. So, like, Comic Kuten, Comic Low, Megastore, all those are all not dojinshi. They are all commercial works.
Mhm.
Any of your typical, like, Ero magazine, Tankobon releases, those are all gonna be not dojin releases. They're all commercial works. And that's what a lot of people refer to as dojinshi, but they're not dojinshi. It could be. The thing is that in the West, both dojinshi and commercial releases get referred to as dojinshi, and that's where the confusion is, I think, because corporations are releasing H manga constantly. There are, I think, there's at least a dozen R18 magazines that are like coming out every month, something like that. Like, There's a constant stream of it. Constantly.
Shimo, how are you so aware of this? Hmm.
I know a lot of artists.
Meanwhile, like, you know what I sit here watching, spending all of my time on? Just looking at really obscure things on the internet.
Yeah. In my free time, I actually spend a lot of time reading on anime history.
And cuddling with Nahida.
To
The silence
distinguish
is telling.
yeah. How to tell if something is self-published or traditionally published is actually really, really easy. Dojinshi are almost always labeled with dojinshi on the cover. Or they're formatted, and include mention of circle release info at Comic-Con or something of the sort. Commercial works are always going to be under a publisher. And they're either going to be from like a magazine or they're going to be from a tankobon, and both of which are going to have publisher information. And well, like dojin magazines aren't really a thing. And actually, as far as like physically goes, the form factor for them alone kind of gives it away. They're printed at different sizes. Actually, I can actually. Can I? No, that'd be kind of a pain in the butt. Never mind.
Always for next time. You can always show stuff on Discord.
Yeah,
and
I
whatever.
can always do it next time.
Mm.
So the publisher logo is usually, if it's a tankobon release, it will be stamped on the, it'll be stamped on the spine, sometimes on the cover. But there will also be, so at the end of a book, right? So for example, I'll pull this up again, right? So this is at the end of a tankobon release. One sec, let me capture cursor, please and thank you. There we go. Yeah, so can you see my cursor?
I can.
Yeah, there we go. Right.
Okay. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, so you've got the artist here, 𝐻ヂ𝒩𝒯𝒜𝐼 here. This right here is the publisher, Quora Magazine, right? So the way this is laid out, Hot Milk Comics series number 369, right? So that is the like number in the series of tankobon releases. This is always gonna be, it's always gonna be something more like this on a tankobon release, or non-dojin works. Dojin works are usually gonna have, it's not gonna be as formatted, and it's usually gonna include like words from the author, usually more handwritten. But yeah, like this is just like, this is a much older book, but as you can see, it's still pretty much the same formatting overall. It's very professional.
Yeah.
ISBN included. Like, you're not gonna see that on a dojin either.
It's very corporate.
Yep. And so like you'll even see it here, right? So you've got like the artist name here, you got the publisher on the bottom. You got like Comic High, Action Comics. There's a lot of info that gets printed on the spines. And well, dojinshi are thin books, so typically there's nothing on the spines. They're too thin for that. But yeah, like commercial works are always going to have an ISBN, which a dojinshi will not have. But like for like your typical like magazine one shot, for example, it'll say, one of the things you'll notice at the start of the chapter, well, I mean, if it's a one shot, it won't have a cover. It's a pretty obvious sign that it's, taken from a magazine or a tankobon release. Usually it's a magazine, right? Because like on Melon Books, they do sell like individual chapters of some magazines for digital download. So it won't have a cover for it because it'll just be that individual chapter. And oftentimes it'll have like editor notes introducing, like being like, oh, such and such artist is back with this new, action packed, one shot for this magazine. And doujinshi like follow a completely different pattern because they're a self-contained individual book. Some doujins can actually have digital downloads. It's just really it's a lot less common for doujins to have digital downloads. It's become a little more common post-COVID. But generally speaking, they don't, especially if they're like not original works. It's a lot less likely. But it's very, very common for commercial works to have digital downloads now.
Kind of cool how it's like all evolved over time, you know?
Yeah. Telling I still prefer physical copies
Yeah.
in regards to
I like that. I like the smell of books.
same. Also, physical copies often have less censoring.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not saying there can't be, but they're much less common. Much, much less common. Especially
Yeah.
nowadays, they're a lot less common.
Well, Shimo, how do you feel now that you did your first reaction video?
I feel like I'm a real YouTuber now.
You are! See? I always knew you could do it. Remember me when you're famous, Shimo.
I think you're more famous than me.
I mean, technically speaking, how many videos of mine are you in? So technically you are also famous by proxy.
It's because we're sisters.
Exactly. Well, Chad, did you learn something today? Did you enjoy
Yeah.
this?
But yeah, I am gonna try to do like videos trying to explain like doujin stuff better.
Yeah. Yeah. So make sure you all subscribe and stuff so you know when Shimo will do this again.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, one of the big things with like knowing the difference between like a doujin or like a non-doujin is like if you're going to buy one, they're actually separate categories on shops. So and like if you go to like a regular bookstore in Japan, for example, you'll be able to find non-doujin works, but you'll never see doujin works there. Because doujin
Yeah.
works can pretty much only be sold at shops like Toranohana or Melon Books.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So that's another a big way to know the difference.
Thank you, Shimo, for teaching us tonight. Shimo's so smart.
And then, of course, if there's a circle attached to the release, then it's a doujin because circles are the ones that publish at an event. There's really not a catch-all term. That's the thing, though.
That's what makes it special.
I think part of the issue is that in the West they try to use catch-all terms for with words that like or with things that don't really have a catch-all term because it's not how it really works. Because like doujinshi, for example, includes, like I've said, like, manga, light novels, magazines. But it's specifically for self-published stuff, whereas a commercial thing will also have light novels, manga, and magazines. And it's really just about how it's released. That's That really is all the differentiation with dojin. But it does also affect the formatting and how you sort things, because a dojin is going to have a circle, whereas a normal manga is just going to have a publisher. And with non-dojin releases, there's like only a couple of publishers, and it's kind of not as important information. But with a dojin, like if you want more, the circle is actually sometimes as important as the artist.
Really?
So a lot of circles are like one person things where it's like
Yeah.
the artist. And some are like multiple people and they have friends and stuff who'll pop in here and there. But some circles are like a writer and they basically hire or work with different artists every time.
Wait, so do they use like a special like circle to signify that?
So the writer has their circle and it's a different artist every time, but they have a consistent theme because the writer has a thing they like to write, right? So if you
Oh.
want that theme, it's the artist then is less important because it's the writer and the circle name that is releasing the content you want to see. So you want to keep up with that circle, not so much the individual artist if it's not something that you normally draw. Whereas other times, it's better to keep up with an artist because they're more consistent in what they like to draw, and you want to keep up with all the stuff they do.
Right.
And then, of
Wow.
course, if the artist also does commercial publications, then, you know, it's good to keep up with their commercial works.
Yeah.
Like Ro, who did my daki, or Utatane, who did my tapestries. They both do dojinshi and commercial works.
That's really cool. I'm glad that you like pay attention to a lot of stuff. It's actually how
Yep.
you and I found our new art mama for our new live 2D models. It's like because you're so good at like keeping I don't know in the
Clamp
mind
are
with that
actually a
stuff.
really good example. Clamp are actually a dojin circle originally, and they became like they ended up commercially publishing under their dojin circle name when they got commercialized for like Cardcaptor Sakura and such. But yeah. I'll definitely try to answer all the questions I can about this stuff.
Hey, well, I think
Yeah, this
if
might be good.
anything, we can always turn them into like shorts and stuff later too. So like, for all of you, if we didn't answer every question that you had, there's a comment section underneath. So that way the next time maybe Shimo could do a Q&A or something about this stuff and answer all the questions that are in the comments.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know. I know Peach Pit is a duo. I don't actually think they are a dojin circle though. Like if I remember correctly, they both started as dojin manga artists, but they didn't use the name Peach Pit. Peach Pit was the name they published under when they did like Shigochara and Rosen Maiden. Whereas Clamp has actually done like dojinshi as Clamp. There are actually a lot of like artist groups like that publish under one name.
It's kind of smart too, brand recognition too. Which one's your favorite so far? Like if you had to pick a dojin, which one has been like because you collect a lot of them. So what's your favorite?
Like a dojin manga?
Yeah.
It's a really hard question.
You have so many.
I have so many, but it's a lot harder for me to name like a favorite dojin? Mm,
I love that you just have a whole spreadsheet of all the stuff you've bought in.
right? Like, it's just like, I have so many, and it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if I can pick a favorite. There's so many good ones, you know?
You know what? I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
Yeah, like, because if it's like non-dojin manga, it's actually a lot easier. So one of the big things for me, right, is I actually prefer like lengthier stories, which is not you don't really see a lot of that in dojins. So a lot of the times for me with dojins, it's usually I just pick it based off the artist. Like I like certain circles and artists because I just really like what they do. So for me, it's easier to be like, yes, I really like this circle, or I really like this artist and what they do, and like, rather than like an individual work they've done, if that makes sense. Whereas like with an H manga, because they were talking about like many chapters, it's a lot easier to be like, well, this is my favorite because I like more chapters in this one than in the others, right?
Yeah.
But if we're talking art books, I actually probably could pick a favorite. Probably be one of the Tinkerbell ones I have. Maybe Yumiya. Yumiya is
Yeah.
really pretty.
I'll have to look at it sometime.
I like anything by this artist though. The one that I have a lot of works by. Yeah. But yeah, you can see actually right here, because this is like the artists for the circles here. And you can see how the like list of artists changes over time.
Hmm.
And well, they changed their spelling a bunch as well for the circle over time. But I actually have a commission from Belle coming soon. I'm a big fan of them.
That's awesome.
Setsuna and Belle are like my two all-time favorite artists. So, and then we have our new mama, Tsukimi.
Yeah, Tsukimi. Her art is so pretty. I love her art so much.
I will say I'm really biased for this one though, Luminosity.
Mm.
It's on Nahida. Or wait, no, Gochu Mix 3. Gotcha Mix 3 is the Nahida one. Luminosity is just like cute Yuri, which is also very good. Very cute artist. Big fan. I may have a lot of Genshin things, a lot of Nahida things.
It's very Shimo.
Just a little bit. But yeah, I have a pretty wide selection of books. Like, not all of it's like even an SFW. A lot of this actually is not. I'm not addicted. I can stop anytime I want. I just don't want to. But yeah, we can get wrapping up here.
Before
yeah.
we wrap up, can we just address the one that says flat chest?
It's a good book.
I'm offended that I didn't get to see it when I visited.
That's because I got it like 3 weeks ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's very good. I think you would like it a lot. It is really nice art.
Shima has actually picked out some books from her collection, and she like had me look through them. She's like, you know, Mari, I think this would be more up in your alley. And she showed me some very interesting stuff.
Well, so Flat Chest is by Keta, who's a very good Toho artist.
Mm-hmm.
Which I know quite a few people in this chat or very familiar with their work. Yeah, Kita has been around for a while, and they have their art is just really, really pretty. They have really nice shading.
Yeah.
Unironically, it is really, really nice shading. And this is very off topic now from our reaction.
It's the, you know, little extra content for people.
Exactly. For real though, Kara. How I don't know how they do skin that nicely. I'll show you when we in stream what I'm talking about. It's
Okay.
actually really amazing. But yeah, thanks you guys for coming to my first YouTube stream.
Yeah, thanks so much for watching it. And don't worry, we'll timestamp this too, so for anyone who missed stuff, it'll help peruse the stream a bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Seamless TED Talk, exactly.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow I have a very lengthy DJ stream.
Oh boy. Fun times. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to it. Yes.
It's
But that's
me
gonna
and
be on Twitch.
Yeah, it'll be on Twitch. It's me and Fox Mellows are doing the art DJ thing.
Have fun.
Yeah,
I'm
it's been a
excited.
bit.
And thanks for having me, Shimo. This is fun. I
Yeah.
always love watching videos with you and just talking. Even though like I might be like half asleep right now, but I've been very much enjoying it. It has nothing to do with you, Shimo.
I'm glad. I like doing this with you too. We should definitely do more.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down.
I was actually thinking about it earlier today that like I have a couple other videos in mind that we could possibly do something with at some point.
Heck yeah, I'm ready for it.
Yeah. But I'd definitely like to work with you on some of the videos, maybe.
Yeah, I'll help you out. Don't worry.
I'm just like I'm gonna have to do a lot of reading for those. Just to kind of briefly touch on like what I'm wanting to do with some of the videos is I am planning to like there's like a couple of really good book resources that are like a couple hundred pages that I'm gonna try to find. It's a good excuse to finally read them because I do want to read them.
Yeah.
But now I'm gonna have to
Exactly.
go through them and I'm gonna have to like bookmark pages to like for further research
Mm-hmm.
when I do read through it. But also I have like so one of the hardest things about older things with anime history is that there's a lot of interviews and a lot of information that's either completely lost or they were done in old magazines that never got any digital publications or like versions. The articles just never got posted online. There's no like public archive of them, and so you kind of just have to like find people who have physical copies. I mean, yeah, it's only in Japanese too, but like I mean like this information, like you have to physically find someone who has a physical copy of this book who can like take a picture of it for you to even have access to the Japanese. Like a lot of Japanese people don't even have access to it because the books don't really exist anymore. Like, so for some of the stuff I'm going to be like covering, like I have photographs of like pages from magazines from like the early 1980s. And that's literally all that exists on the internet of these books and these magazines where these like interviews are. And so it's like it's really cool. It's really interesting, right?
Yeah, and people again, lost media and stuff like this and preservation is so important. So the fact that you have something is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and like because like I told you before, I want to do a short about Joshi Saishi, right?
Yeah.
Composer for Ghibli films. The info for that, I like knew it, but I wanted confirmation. Right? like listening to it, I'm like, I know what this is, but I want more info. Like, I want to know the specifics. Like, did he own one? Did he own this thing, or did he borrow one, right? And I ended up, someone I know who actually does buy a lot of these magazines and such was able to find a transcription from like 3 years ago of a special edition of a magazine from 1994
Yeah.
with an interview with Hisaishi that had this info in it. And he's like, this is literally all that exists about this.
Oh my gosh.
And it had the info I was looking for. Enough of the info I was looking for that I could, like, you know, reasonably assume the rest of it, right? But it's like, that's kind of what I'm going to be working with for some of these videos I want to do. But I think it'll be fun because it'll be a lot of my own translation work I'm going to be having to do to, like, tell you guys about it.
Don't worry, you can have me help you with translation stuff and everything.
Definitely. But yeah, that's gonna be a slow, but I do want to, like, work on that. I don't know when to expect videos like that because it's gonna take me a while. I wanna try to get a couple at least organized before I start posting any.
Yeah. Shima will be thorough.
Yeah, because how I want to do it is I want to make sure that I have, like, I want to start with, like, what is a dojin, right? Because any subsequent videos I do about dojins, like, I can just be like, check this video.
Yeah, exactly. See, you've learned so much already. I'm so proud of you.
Right? I wanna make sure that, like, any big topics I cover before I cover topics that need you to know about it. I want to make sure it's easy for you guys to, like, keep up, you know? So I'm going to try to dig deep on some of this, and it's going to make absolutely, like, no sense without context.
That's fair.
But I think it's really fascinating stuff. I think it's really, really cool. So, yeah. I think that's a good place to stop. I think,
Yeah.
I hope you guys will enjoy those videos. I've got a bigger bit of plans, you could say.
Don't worry, they will. They will. I enjoyed it. So yeah, thank you everybody for watching tonight. Hope you all have a good night.
Yeah. Simo and a tuber arc begin.
Yes.
Well, just one last thing, Nix. It's not even, like, doujinshi and stuff. Like, I'm talking about, like, Uchiyama Aki, for example, one of the pivotal figures in the birth of Bishoujo anime from the 80s. None of his, like, interviews or anything are out there, right? Like, a lot of the old interviews with, like, Hayao Miyazaki are just gone from the early 80s. Or they're only in these physical magazine copies. Like, it's not even, like, niche doujin stuff, but, like, big, like, interviews with, like, Hideaki Anno and Osamu Tezuka and all that. A lot of that stuff is, like, lost. Or it's, like, on these magazines in people's houses. And you gotta, like, find people that have them to, like, find them. Like, otaku culture as a whole is kind of, like, missing from the internet from that period.
Yeah.
And so it's just, like, a lot of it is really just, like, it's, like, a handful of, like, Japanese people online that, like, talk about it consistently, and I follow along and chat with them a lot in my free time. So, yeah, that's kind of what I want to do videos on, because it's just, like, no one talks about it, and it's really cool stuff. And, it's just, like, yeah, I think people would find it interesting if they were able to find it, let alone, like, you know, finding it in English. So I'll do my best. I'm gonna do my best to make it as accurate as I can.
Don't worry, I believe in you.
But yeah, I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your night or day, and I will see you guys later.
Yeah, bye everyone. Take care.
Yep. Bye. Bye.